Part 7. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 61. Chapter 61 The Beauty of a Beautiful Man. When you got on her white horse. It was a little mare less than 3 years old, white, and without a single hair on it. One person and one horse, under the sun, others can't take their eyes away when they look at it. Wen Jiao is so angry. She arrived at the stables a little late, and Wen Yu got such a good horse. Gang grabbed the reins arrogantly and asked Wen Yu to stop, she wanted to ride. As a result, her cousin became sullen and said something to her. She was so gentle and delicate that she almost shed tears, turned around and left. As a result, no one came to pull her to persuade her. Let's go, I can't bear to leave. If you don't leave, you'll lose face. Grinding on the spot hatefully. When Yu was about to leave, he saw that there were 20 or 30 people going with him. They are basically young men and girls, all wearing bright clothes and angry horses. At the lakeside, in front of flowers, under trees, and on the road, there are people laughing and talking. It is really a beautiful scene in the world. Yanzu is not good at riding, but he is very courageous. He is also attracted by the fish in Jingqiao town. He sits on the horse honestly, does not talk or laugh, and is serious. Song Shang accompanied Wen Yu, holding the reins in his hand, pointing at the scenery far and near. At one moment he asked her if she wanted to run for a while, and at another moment she was asked if she was tired. I'm annoyed by Wen Yu, so I'd like to give you a few words. Song Shang, however, was holding his whip and laughing. After walking for a while, there was a pavilion on the roadside. Song Shang said, "Everyone, let's rest here for a while. If you are tired and don't want to ride anymore, just sit here for a while. Then go back. There is a monkey playing there, you can get it, give me some peanuts." Many girls felt soreness in their waists and legs as soon as they got off the horse, making it difficult to walk, and gave up. However, those teenagers felt that they were not satisfied and wanted to show off in front of the girls. While they were resting, they rushed back and forth. Song Shang asked Wen Yu, "Are you tired?" "Not tired, Cousin Hui." "Zuzu, are you tired?" Cousin Hui said, "My waist and legs are sore. I will go back after a while and not go forward." Zuzu endured the pain and whispered to Wen Yu, "Ayu, let's ride to Jingqiao town? The fish there." Wen Yu is actually a little tired. He doesn't move much on weekdays. But when she heard what Yanzu said about fish, she couldn't help but swallow her saliva. So he told Song Shang, "I want to rest for a while and ride to Jingqiao town to eat fish." Haha. Song Shang came to her side and said, "I knew you wanted to eat fish," and everything was arranged, with a hint of pride. While Wen Yu was drinking tea, she saw Song Tao talking to a thin young man next to him. He was not as shy as usual, but rather chatting and laughing. That thin young man looked familiar, but I couldn't remember who it was for the moment. I thought to myself that I would find an opportunity to remind Song Shang and be on guard against Song Tao. There are girls who refuse to leave, and there are also young men who refuse to leave. There are no women here who are strict about rules and regulations. Everyone is talking and joking freely, which is a rare opportunity. There were many men who looked at Wen Yu and Yanzu with red faces and wanted to get close to them, but Song Shang calmly stepped aside. Then, Song Shang took Wen Yu, Yanzu, and a few others on the horse, and walked for a long time before arriving at Jingqiao town. As soon as he got off the horse, Yanzu felt a little anxious and whispered to Wen Yu, "Ayu, I want convenience. Go quickly." Yanzu hurriedly walked into the restaurant. As soon as he reached the door, a group of people were coming out, and they almost bumped into each other. "Who is it? Are you blind?" a guard shouted arrogantly. Yanzu was startled and quickly saluted and said, "I'm sorry." Among them was a young man in brocade clothes. He was almost hit. He was unhappy at first, but when he saw Yanzu, he was stunned. After looking up and down, he immediately changed his smile and said, "It's okay, girl, do as you please." Looking at Yanzu with fiery eyes. Yanzu lowered his head and went in. The young man in brocade followed Yanzu until he saw the young man in white behind him. The young man in white said calmly, "Let's go." "Ah. Okay, okay. Let's go." The young man in Jinyi went out, but saw the people at the door and looked at him. "Brother Song." Song Shang looked at it, turned to Wen Yu and said, "I meet an acquaintance, you go in first." "Private room on the second floor." Wen Yu responded, bypassed the group of people, and walked towards the door. The young man in white clothes was too eye-catching, and she couldn't help but take a curious look. "There is only one word in my heart, God." The steps stopped involuntarily. She didn't even know how good-looking men there were in the world. What comes into view is a pair of beautiful auspicious eyes with a cold expression. Dark eyebrows and eye hair. A face like a knife, white and shiny skin, and a figure like a javelin. When the young man in white saw his companion meeting an acquaintance, he just stood there and had no intention of following him. As a result, he ended up standing here waiting for this woman to look at him. Don't ask him how he knew that others were staring at him. How many times have you been harassed by glances? There is no need to look or guess. He has never been offended when others admired his appearance and brushed it off coldly. The other party turned out to be a very beautiful girl. He is wearing a riding uniform, and the small hat on his head is still on. Under the eaves are a pair of graceful eyes, a slender nose, and a light pink mouth. Skin as white as gelatin. She is taller than ordinary women, and her stance is more generous than ordinary girls. He is not an ignorant person, but women with such appearance are really rare in his life. It's just, she's a girl, why is she looking at a man like that? Are you even ashamed? Your face didn't even turn red. I think of those women who were all shy and coquettish when they saw him, with half-closed eyes, slightly pink faces, and the look of wanting to see him. Among them, my cousin was the most touching. Thinking of her, I was stunned. I'm even more upset. No matter how beautiful you are, it is of no use to me. He grimaced, pursed his lips, and his face stinked terribly. But I never thought that his appearance gave him a hint of cold charm. When Yu's heart was beating wildly, it was really embarrassing to see the beautiful man being discovered. Over there, the young man in brocade clothes has already started talking to Song Shang. After a few words of greeting, he quickly said, "A good friend has come to the capital. Let me introduce him to fifth brother. Nuan Lin. Nuan Lin. Come on, come on. This is my good friend." The man in white snorted softly and walked away with a stinking face. "Miss, please come in." Someone finally came out of the store to greet her. When you couldn't help but feel poetic in his heart. This is really, whose family is young and romantic on the road. That nervous young man in brocade clothes is Sun Ji, the eldest grandson of the southeastern garrison family. Don't look at the smile on his face right now. Who is it? Normally, his nostrils are turned upward in arrogance. The year before last, by chance, Song Shang saved his life. This contact, Song Shang's city government, knowledge and proficiency in all kinds of things made Sun Ji convinced of him all of a sudden. He also took him to his home and introduced him to his grandfather. Sun Xiaobei took a look and realized that this person was much more reliable than those the eldest grandson knew. If you learn a little bit from him, you won't become a mediocre person and almost get into trouble. Hence, he valued Song Shang very much. In the past 2 years, we have had many contacts and both parties are satisfied. Sun Xiaobei has also become one of Song Shang's trump cards. Song Shang was extremely surprised when he saw the young man in white walking towards him. He had never seen such a handsome man before. But he is extremely experienced. As soon as he hears the identity of the other party and sees the talent of the other party, he knows how to behave. It would be too frivolous to show appreciation for his appearance. "Young Master Chi Wu, it's our first time meeting you," Song Shang gave a gentle salute. "Be courteous and considerate, neither far nor near." As expected, Chi Wu's expression softened a bit. He didn't say anything, and he just returned the standard greeting. The young man in brocade clothes was still laughing. "You two are ranked 5th, and you are both my 5th brother. Haha, what a coincidence." Song Shang said, "Why didn't you tell me when you got here?" His attitude was very cordial. "Oh, stay with Brother Chi, if you have something to do. I have just opened a painting studio here. Could you please take a tour of the lake with Mr. Chi?" "Painting workshop, it's great, it's just that we don't have time today, we have to rush to Huzhu." Song Shang nodded and expressed his appreciation to Sun Ji. "Okay. It's more important to accompany Mr. Chi to do business. There are many opportunities to visit the lake." Yes, we can meet again at the Tianlong Temple Dharma ceremony in a few days then, let's get together again." "Okay, I've reserved the 3rd floor of Gongdalan for my friends. You and Mr. Chi are welcome to come at any time." "5th brother is so interesting. Okay, let's go first." Chi Wu said nothing from beginning to end. He saluted Song Shang and turned away. A servant had already pulled the horse over. He jumped on the horse with extremely graceful movements and walked away, minding his own business. That beautiful woman in riding clothes was left behind by him. The young man in brocade clothes smiled at Song Shang and quickly mounted his horse to chase after him. "And when you didn't bother to go to the convenience store?" He went up to the 2nd floor, opened the window, lay there, and admired the beautiful man from a high position. Hands on his chin, eyes fiery. Tisk, tisk, how come his mounting posture looks so good? Seeing him leaving in a hurry, I felt a little disappointed. So beautiful. When can I enjoy it again? End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 62. Chapter 62 Tritantan. There must be 8 or 9 people riding with Song Shang to Jingqiao town. But basically they are all men. Song Tao was very interesting and went up to the 2nd floor after seeing Wen Yu. Song Shang is being tricked by the shop owner. He pulled the others and said, "Let's go to the platform to eat. It's fun and you can see the lake." Several people followed him happily. Song Shang saw this and felt even more that this 7th brother was considerate and discerning. Going upstairs, Wen Yu and Yanzu sat at the table drinking tea, putting their heads together and muttering something. As long as Wen Yu comes to the Song family, he must come to this restaurant. Moreover, as long as there are no outsiders, Yanzu will be on the table. Song Shang sat down, poured himself a cup of tea, crossed his legs, and waited for the fish to be served. The 2 stunning beauties in front of them kept talking and laughing. He couldn't describe his mood at this moment. How many men in the world could have such a blessing? Not to mention the distance, Princess Wu, the concubine of King Wu, also looks very ordinary. Moreover, he also has that kind of place in his hands. Occasionally, you can see a stunning beauty, but 2 people together can still be so vivid. I despised myself severely. Where is this and where? I haven't finished talking about what happened yesterday. What happened to the tea house? He asked. When you said, huh? Yes, I started talking about it yesterday. What I mean is, although the business of the tea house is very good, there are also special reasons. One is located in the jurisdiction of my father's friend, and a lot of business is provided by that friend. On the other hand, the tea purchasing channel also belongs to my father. The price is much lower than others. I looked at the contract and it was expiring soon. There is no such price for renewing the contract. You don't have to worry about this. My channel can only offer lower prices and better goods than others. But what about the client? My father and wife didn't mention it, so I won't ask. But I can't get in touch with you. You can't let you take care of everything. And it's so far away from me. Even if you go on a patrol, you have to do it. Half a month. Not to mention the trouble, the cost will not be low. It's better to take advantage of the good business and the prosperous business. Hey, you know how to do the same thing, who did you learn it from? With a very smart cousin like you, how can you not be tainted by anything? You mean what you say, Song Shang cursed lightly, holding a folding fan to hit the wound. He didn't believe what she said, but that didn't stop him from feeling beautiful in his heart. When you smiled and hid, there are still two small things, and they are all out. If you don't need the things in the warehouse, they will be disposed of. Return some money, and when something good happens, you can use the money to do things. Well, actually, my suggestion is to buy some good properties and sit and eat the rent. If you, a rich girl, have so much money that you have no use for it, just put it here with your cousin. He will give you some income every year and help you with everything. No need to do it. Just eat, drink and have fun all day long. It would be really wonderful if it could be like this. I still want to do something I like. For example, I like beautiful clothes, I can open an embroidery shop or something. Thinking of Webster, he laughed. Actually, I am quite smart in this regard. The evil smile on his face made Song Shang's face turn pale. This girl, when did she become like this? When you did not dare to offend him too much and decisively changed the subject. Cousin, let me tell you about Zuzu again. Yanzu heard the mention of herself and glanced over with her beautiful eyes before she could figure it out. There was a knock on the door, and it turned out that the food was being served. Ah! The food is served. The food is served. Yanzu immediately forgot what she was about to say and stared at what was on the wooden trays carried by the guys. Various appetizers, braised chicken, vegetarian duck, red fruits, ice-fermented glutinous rice, pickled lotus root tips, etc. There is only a little bit of each, and they are stacked beautifully. As soon as these things are served, your appetite will be whetted. Fifth master, would you like some wine? The waiter asked. Song Shang just shook his head. But when you said, my cousin won't drink, so Zuzu and I will drink. Yanzu nodded fiercely. Today's fish needs to be paired with some wine. Hee, let's warm a pot and let the two of them share it. Song Shang. The waiter had already warmed up the wine. After hearing the order, he poured it directly into the cup. The aroma overflowed and attracted Song Shang's greedy mind. 3 people picked up their chopsticks and started eating. When you told Song Shang about Yanzu while eating. If it goes through successfully, we will build a small courtyard and let her move out. Yanzu ate the boiled plums, vomited the kernels, and shook her head violently. If Zuzu doesn't move out, Zuzu wants to accompany you. Song Shang said, identity is easy to handle. If Fatty John can't handle it, leave it to me. What is little Fatty John? Look at his tone. When you gave a blank look. Before he could say anything, the fish came up. Ouch, so beautiful. Fried small fish, braised large fish, steamed medium fish, grilled whitefish, and fatty fish for hot pot. That hot pot is cooked with local pickled rhizomes. The rhizomes are sour and spicy, and the fish is so plump and delicious that you really want to drink the soup. The 2 girls drank wine and ate fish without talking to each other. But after eating and drinking, they felt tired and the 2 of them sat in a daze, feeling confused. Song Shang shook his head and ordered the waiter to remove everything. You 2 just lie down on the table for a while. When you wake up and take a nap, we'll go back. Let a female guard watch over you. He went downstairs and bragged with the people on the platform. Song Tao's eyes lit up when he saw him coming, and he stayed close to him, looking like a little fanboy. After a nap, the 2 girls' eyes were bright, and on the way back, they even let the horses trot for a while. But when they finished and returned to the house, the two of them seemed to have fallen apart. After washing, they fell down on the bed and fell asleep directly. Wen Jiao didn't ride a horse after all. She complained to Mrs. Wen and even cried. Mrs. Wen sent someone to ask Wen Yu to ask questions. As a result, the girl came and went for a while, and the eldest girl was so tired that she fell asleep and couldn't wake up at all. The next day is considered the official day for birthday celebrations. The main courtyard was very lively. On such a day, Webster has not appeared yet. Of course it will attract attention. It's just that Mrs. Wen and Mrs. Song work together flawlessly. Although they didn't say anything, someone tried for a long time and came up with something. Webster is pregnant. The fetus is not firmly seated, and the conclusion is not allowed to be told to anyone else. After Mrs. Zhang, the second roommate of the Song family, found out, she didn't even bother to cause trouble. She just sat there with a change of expression. Even though she knows it will happen sooner or later, it doesn't stop her from having fantasies. What if the eldest son fails to have a son? What if something happens to Song Shang? Unfortunately, no one paid attention to her frustration, and the birthday party went on extremely smoothly. A lion dance was also arranged today, and the gongs and drums were beating, pushing the atmosphere to a climax again and again. At noon, good food and wine were prepared. Everyone ate and drank well and returned home happily. That night, Mrs. Wen told Mrs. Song that she wanted to go back the next day and wanted to talk to Song Shang about something. Song Shang wanted to stay for a few more days, but Mrs. Wen said, "There are a lot of things at home. There are many things to do before going to the capital. The property needs to be reorganized, and the things sent have to be dealt with over and over again, one after another. Bo's delivery and more." Old Mrs. Wen paused, and then said, "Wen Yu, I'm old now. I'll make some plans when I get back. I want to take advantage of the large number of people at the Tianlong Temple Dharma gathering to find a good match for her." She mixed these words in the middle of business, just to see Song Shang's expression and attitude. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 63. Chapter 63 never left. Yesterday when we went back, Wen Jiao complained in tears, which made Mrs. Wen suspicious again. Even though she usually didn't care about love at all, she still felt that Song Shang seemed to treat Wen Yu differently. Moreover, this is so normal. In the past 2 days, I don't know how many people have inquired about Wen Yu. Is something really going to happen to them? It's no small matter if it's possible. She looked at Song Shang strangely, trying to figure out something. Song Shang smiled after hearing this and nodded casually without answering. He has no qualifications and no position now, so he cannot show anything in case the situation goes wrong. Anyway, I have someone in the Song family, so I can know about any movement. Get engaged. Haha, there is always a way to delay it. Old Mrs. Wen saw that Song Shang was no different, and she didn't know whether to be happy or a little disappointed. After she entered Beijing, she had to rely on Song Shang for matters here. When discussing with Wen Qian before, Wen Qian meant to wait for him to gain a firm foothold before making a decision. If it goes well and helps Song Shang, it will be a good thing. If his progress is not smooth, then give way to Song Shang again. But no matter what, Song Shang is very important to the Wen family. She had the idea last night that although she couldn't give him Wen Yu as his concubine, if he really had it in his heart, it would still be a tie, wouldn't it? Since I didn't test it out at this moment, I stopped mentioning it and got back to business. When she returned to her residence, MRS Wen called a few girls over and ordered, "Get your things ready. Let's go back early tomorrow morning." Wen Jiao looked at Wen Yu and sneered, "Sister, where is your white horse? Aren't you going to take it back?" "Second sister, I almost forgot if I didn't tell you, Grandma, can I take the white horse back with me?" Old MRS Wen was heartbroken again. "That's your cousin's thing, how do I know?" After listening to Wen Yu, he walked to the door and said, "Ziaji, go to Zuyuan to find MRS Su. Ask her to ask my cousin for me and tell her that I want to take the white horse back, okay?" "You have such a big face," Wen Jiao shouted with a straight voice. "Second sister, are you willing to let me take the white horse back, or are you not willing?" Wen Yu was confused. "What does it have to do with me?" "But, you just asked me." Wen Jiao was so speechless that she could not speak. Old MRS Wen frowned, "What's the fuss about? Go back and clean it up." Early the next morning, the girls got dressed and prepared to get on the bus at the second gate. Then Wen Jiaozhen saw the little white horse being held by the old man riding a donkey beside Wen Yu. Sun Ying's bodyguard has traveled all over the country and seen a lot of good things in his life. However, this is the only one who can hold the reins in his own hands. Looking at the beautiful horse, his face was full of smiles and he was so in love with it. "Although I can't ride it, I'm very proud of being able to pull it." Wen Jiao's face suddenly turned dark. MRS Song and Song Shang came to deliver it in person. They also sent 2 cars out of the family and brought a lot of things back. Old MRS Wen shook her head and smiled, "You. What are you doing? It seems like I am here to beat the autumn wind." "What are you talking about? I wanted you to stay a few more days, but I'm so anxious to go back. We will be able to see each other again after the Tianlong Temple Dharma ceremony in 2 days." Everyone said goodbye. Song Shang watched Wen Yu wrap up tightly and get into the car, and the car swayed towards the distance. But the beautiful feeling she brought to him has never left. Back at Wen's house, MRS Wu went out to pick up MRS Wen. MRS Li and the girl helped old MRS Wen get out of the car, and MS Wu quickly stepped forward to salute. "Mom, you've had a hard journey, how are you?" MRS Song, "Is the house very lively?" MRS Wen was really tired during this trip and nodded, "Everything is fine." "Is everything okay at home?" "Everything is fine at home." MRS Wu had something on her mind, but she couldn't say it, and she looked a little unhappy. "I'm really tired after this journey. I'll take a rest first." "You can go and do something if you have something to do." He turned to MRS Li and said, "You have taken care of me these past few days. Go back and have a rest quickly," Li Shi responded. The girls also went back to their houses. Wen Jiao hummed, hoping that Wu would see it and ask her. Unexpectedly, after the old lady left, Wu's smiling face also dropped. "You all go back and rest." After speaking, he turned around and left. Wen Jiao became even more angry. Wen Yu returned to the courtyard. When he entered the house, he saw it was clean inside and outside, and there were even flowers in the vase. He couldn't help but feel very happy. Everything inside and outside the house is clean and beautiful. King He and Xiangshu are here. It's different after all. This girl has a big reward. Hung Xing's face became even more ugly after hearing this. Wen Yu divided the things he brought among them and sent them away. Little Jinyang said, "Girl, there are a few things. Her temperament has also changed drastically these days, and she behaves like a magnanimous steward. There is news from Mr. Zhang Zhongqing. He said that the things you asked him to do have basically been completed. Please contact him when you come back. It may be urgent. Another thing, Hong Xing will go home one day, and I will take him with you." I followed Li Tan and took down the things she had hidden in the peony pavilion. Wen Yu's face became solemn. "What is it?" "It was some powder. At that time, I couldn't tell what it was. So I took it to the drugstore and asked, but the young doctor couldn't understand it. Later, I asked his master to recognize it. He said it was a kind of powder made by dry grinding of fungi. Born in the southwest, we don't have it here, it will die quickly. Wen Yu was not too surprised. Hong Xing had seen Granny Su and she was hiding outside secretly. She was definitely not a good person. But I still didn't expect it to be this. If Xiaoji hadn't been activated in time, we really wouldn't have discovered it. I couldn't help but break into a cold sweat. I've been having a smooth sailing lately, and I'm feeling a little carried away. Actually, danger is always around you and has never left. Xiao Jinyang said, the old doctor said that this fungus tastes very delicious. If you put it in the soup, it will have a special taste. But it dies quickly and the symptoms are not obvious. Yuan Shi is really thoughtful and far-sighted. I laid the trap early. Even if I die, no one will suspect her. Where's that thing? The slave thought that this thing was too dangerous, so it was not a big deal to leave it like this. If something went wrong, it would be all over. So I made the decision and replaced it with ordinary mushroom powder and put it back in its original place. When you nodded frequently, this is best. The mushroom powder was taken to the yard rented by Xiaoji's father and placed on the beam on the ladder. Well, you did a good job in this matter. When you was very pleased that he had found the wrong person after all. Girl, if you want to see it, I can bring it to you. Don't be in a hurry, just leave it for now, don't throw it away, just be careful not to eat it by mistake. It's well wrapped and out of reach of ordinary people, don't worry. Hong Xing, you still have to keep an eye on it. Yes. Let Li Tan look for Zhang Zhongqing when I come back, I'll see when he has the time. Yes. Oh, there is something else at home. What's the matter? When you looked a little embarrassed at Xiao Jinyang's smile. The second master's matter, she didn't know what to say to a girl. Let's talk, in our own room. The second master is out there, and he has taken a fancy to a widow with a 7 or 8-year-old son. The family has land and a shop, and is actually a well-off family. Not to mention good-looking, he is quite capable. It is said that the second master is very interested, but people ignore him. Xiao Jinyang laughed. The second wife may know that she doesn't look good these days. Oh. Wen Yu's mind turned around. Is this the type that Wu is afraid of? She is not afraid that her second uncle will find girls or prostitutes. Only those who are rich, talented, and beautiful are the most worried. Go and inquire about it carefully. Yes. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 64. Chapter 64. Fortunately, he lived up to his fate. Fortunately, I live up to my fate. At Wufaja tea house, Zhang Zhongqing came in and sat directly opposite Wen Yu and Yanzu. He has been very busy recently and has lost a lot of weight. The waist is out, the contours of the face are clearer, and there is a sense of high-spiritedness, so handsome. Wen Yu looked at him with a smile, and Yanzu quickly poured him a cup of tea. First, Zhang Zhongqing was eager to show off his merits and looked at Yanzu. It's Yanzu's identity. Because Uncle Chen is not here at the moment, there are a few twists and turns. I found a few people and I also acted as a guarantor. Look, got it? He brought a piece of paper to Wen Yu. Wen Yu took it and was indeed a little excited. Brother Zhongqing, it sounds easy to say it, but I know it's definitely not easy. Especially, you have guaranteed a guarantee. In case Yanzu's status is in the way, he will follow Guoluo. When you finished reading and handed the paper to Yanzu. Yanzu took it and looked at it curiously. In fact, she didn't care too much, but seeing how excited they were, she could only express it. Zhang Zhongqing smiled brightly, it's just a little more complicated, and, it cost a lot of money. He was really embarrassed. If he hadn't taken the money from Au, he would have opened his mouth to his parents. Alas, a young man who has just started working is so poor. From now on, Miss Yanzu is a commoner. I can't thank you enough for your kindness, Wen Yu said sincerely. Zhang Zhongqing was beautiful for a while, then suddenly said in a low voice, in addition, I also found out about Lan Fang. When you knew the situation was not good as soon as he saw it, don't hide it from me, just tell me. Her eldest aunt's nephew is actually a distant nephew. His name is Wang Duan. He is already 21 this year. He has been studying for 2 years and has no idea. Oh, I don't have any idea either. All read. He didn't even pass the Tongsheng test. And there's no reason. The most important thing is that he got married before. When you was surprised. Divorced his wife, I heard that before. He always took action, and the family was very chaotic. He has a son, but he still divorced his wife. It's really bad. Maybe he went there for a Fang's marriage. When you came back from rebirth and looked down upon human nature a lot, but after hearing this, he was still very angry. Her aunt is also very bad. Yes, I just want to find someone who can live with a Fang. When you tapped her fingers on the table, but that woman's family isn't looking for trouble. At first, I didn't want to leave, and my mother-in-law's family refused to do anything about it. Later, A Fang's uncle came forward. After all, he is an official, and no one dares to mess with him. It seems that this uncle also knows about it. Yanzu sighed, Lan Fang and Lanzhou, life is really hard. When you smiled secretly, once upon a time, we were not as good as their siblings. Even now, you still have to be careful. Yes, Zhang Zhongqing nodded. I contacted A Fang, but I didn't tell her about this matter. Well, let's go back and let me think about what to say. I also went to see the place where her mother kept her things. If you want to move the things out without disturbing the people in the village, you have to find a way. I have someone in my hands now, Master Sun, who is very skilled. It's not of use at the moment. I know someone, and he said to think of something first. After saying that, he took out the bag and handed it to Wen Yu. Last time you gave me some money, you did use some of it. There is an account on the paper inside. This is unused. Brother Zhongqing, not only will I not take it back, I will also give you some more. As she said this, she took out an envelope. Here are 1,000 taels of silver, take it with you. Or, I have something else to do. Whatever you want me to do, just say it. It doesn't cost money. This time, it was a bit urgent, so the cost was a bit higher. Normally, I can still do it. Zhang Zhongqing blushed. Listen to me, A Fang's matter requires people and cars. I don't know what will happen, but without exception, money will be used. When Zhang Zhongqing heard this, he couldn't help but sigh. He is really poor. You have just started working, and you have no official position. If you want help from others, you must take action. Moreover, you have to have a few useful people when you are running outside every day. Although Mr. Zhang will think about you, after all, it is not as good as having your own hands. It's convenient to have money, so you're welcome. It's for me too. These words made Zhang Zhongqing feel so happy that the two of them were one and the same. Okay. I'll keep it then. This is the list of expenses last time. Well, my father is helping me find a job. I guess I can do it in the second half of the year. It will be better then. I will invite mother to come to propose marriage. By then, will brother Zhongqing also have an official position? Wen Yu and Yanzu both laughed at him. He. Oh, Au, that Master Qing you are talking about. I also found out that she is the concubine of Boss Lu, the owner of Kailyuan Pavilion. Oh. In the last life, she was not familiar with Master Qing, and she made clothes once, and then not long after, something seemed to happen. I don't know what the specific matter is. I just heard that she begged Webster in a panic. Webster was unhappy because he entered the Song family. After only hearing the beginning, she interrupted and said that it couldn't be done, and asked her to go out directly. Then I was making clothes, and I heard that Master Ching had died of illness. Without her, Cai Luan Pavilion's business has slowly declined. I found out that Master Ching was bought by Boss Lu from Yakuai Building in Qianzhang. But a few years ago, the owner of Yakuai Building passed away and the place was closed. I couldn't find any information. Then I went to the household registration office to check her background. It seemed it's not quite right, it should have been changed secretly. So complicated. Well, it's just an ordinary lowly status now. Oh, you may not know, that some lowly status cannot be redeemed. The kind that was punished by the court. Yes. Cai Luan Pavilion was originally a small shop, but now it has become such a large embroidery building. It is said that she started it. Does she have any children? No, I heard that Boss Liu's wife and 2 sons are very jealous of Kaoluan Pavilion and always want to get involved, but Boss Liu is a powerful person, so they don't dare. She is a slave and does not need to be paid a salary or receive dividends. It is even more impossible to hide and buy property privately. What is there to be jealous of the Liu family? The Liu family is also competing for the first and second bedrooms. Haha, I guess they didn't take it seriously at the beginning. The prosperity of that street is also enhanced by several prosperous shops. Yes, the shop will change, and so will the people. If you need someone, just keep an eye on it for me. If they want to touch Master Ching, bring her here. Okay, I've also found someone. If the Liu family wants to sell her, I'll know it a long time ago. You're really capable. I'm also asking you to take care of a Fang. It's a small matter, don't worry. How about I ask Sun Ying to follow me, in case anything happens? She is really interesting. A beautiful little girl can talk like this, haha, okay. After you are brought back, you can go directly to Wen's house. But you. I understand, Zhang Zhongqing chuckled. He couldn't enter Wen's house directly. After talking, when you led Yan Zhu out of the tea house, Zuzu, let me take you to Kaoluan Pavilion to have a look. Huh, really, that's great. It's really good, she was finally able to go out by herself. Li He drove the car, and Lao Sun followed behind, only taking Yan Zhu with him. You can drink tea, eat and shop outside. Happiness comes so easily. Originally, I thought that Wen Jiao had complained to Wu, and Wu would be in trouble. Unexpectedly, Mrs. Wu has been in a hurry these 2 days and looks bad, so she can't take care of it. The old lady is also meeting people and talking about things, and sometimes she doesn't even need to say hello. So when you let go of the eagle. The car swayed and soon arrived at Kaoluan Pavilion. The clerk at the door is very knowledgeable. Although Wen Yu has only been here once, he is ready to recognize him. Miss Wen, as soon as she entered the door, Manager Lu came to greet her. Manager Lu, I was just passing by and came in to take a look. I didn't make an appointment in advance. Miss Wen is welcome to come at any time, however, there are guests at Master Ching's place now. Can I replace you with another master? That's not necessary, I just want to see what I like. In this case, girl, please feel free to call me if you need an introduction. There are several female customers in the store looking at fabrics. At the innermost tea house, there were 2 well-dressed women sitting, and a master was whispering something to them. After greeting Wen Yu, Manager Lu returned there. Wen Yu said to Yan Zhu, take a good look at the material. I'll give you a dress to wear for your birthday. Hey, Yan Zhu is very beautiful, specially customized for herself. It's so dazzling that you can't even look at it. At this moment, Master Ching appeared on the stairs. Then, a woman, her skirt slightly swaying, came downstairs. After communicating with the editor, the title of the book was changed. I'm a typist, so I feel like I'm fine with making up stories. I just came up with the title of the book. I scratched my head for 2 days before deciding on this, Love Whoever You Want. I don't want to waste any more energy on this, I really can't bear it. The name is bad, but the story is okay, really. In addition, Yuzaiubeo said that the pace is a bit slow, and he is eager to see the male protagonist and female protagonist interact. There will be. I promise. It's just the love and hatred in the past life, I want to write it more comprehensively. But I will definitely consider Stinky Throne's suggestion. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 65. Chapter 65. She wants people to guess. Seeing the woman coming down, the woman who was sitting quickly stood up and said, "Have mercy." The voice is not quiet, and it is full of enthusiasm and love. When you couldn't help but turn her head to look. What caught her eye was a white dress made of fine silk, with an extremely slender waist. Why is there another one in white? Again. She remembered that the handsome young man she met while eating fish in Jinqiao town a few days ago was dressed in white. Those eyebrows and that stinky expression, oh, how handsome. I became crazy for a while. Thinking of the figure leaving the dust again, I felt sore again. 1 or 2, why should you wear white if you have nothing to do? Wear hemp and wear filial piety. Snored. She didn't like it anymore, so she pointed to the counter and said, "Little sister, bring me the yarn in the cabinet to see," she said sweetly. The girl glanced at him and said nothing. "It's really quite cool." Yanzu shrugged her shoulders and said in a low voice with a look of boredom, "I don't know what the fuss is about, it's just a few clothes, why is it so laborious? If she had money, she would have picked out 10 sets in such a long time." The girl sat down and shook her head. Master Ching said, "Madam, Miss Jean's measurements have been taken." But the style, Miss Jean still wants to consider a few more things. Then he asked questions from piece to piece, endlessly. The voice on the other side can still be heard, "Have you finished measuring?" I didn't hear the woman's answer. It seems to let people guess. "I'm tired," the woman's voice was almost inaudible to others. The woman stood there silently and looked unhappy. "Don't drink it, okay, drink it when you're thirsty later, I just told your aunt to add this piece of lake blue to it." "Ah, are you tired? Sit down and take a rest." Only people ask, but no one answers. The other woman next to her was smiling and enthusiastic, "Isn't that right? I chose the fabric and looked at the style. I didn't wear much. The whole morning has passed." "Are you tired?" Lian, haven't decided yet." On the table next to him, there are more than a dozen pieces of fabric. The woman did not use the clerk, but took a piece herself and asked, "No, what about this?" That girl didn't say yes or no, she just looked at it indifferently. "Take a drink of water. You need to make some more serious clothes when you get married, you can't wear white anymore." It was really disturbing. When you wanted to see who it was, but there were people and cloth blocking it. All he could see was a girl in white sitting there. Pity. The little girl in the store blushed at the beauty, and went to get it diligently. "Put it on the side," the woman pouted. "Ha ha, you girl." Another woman said proudly, "My niece is going to marry to the Duke Jingguo's mansion in the capital." Master Ching smiled lightly and said nothing. Manager Lu was respectful and complimentary, with a particularly humble attitude. "Auntie." The girl blamed, with a hint of shyness and blame in her voice. "Ouch, ouch, stop talking, the girl is so embarrassed." "So Lian, the clothes you make must match your status. Although you wear white and look like a fairy daughter, it is not appropriate in front of the empresses in the palace. You believe your mother, she knows well." He stopped mid-sentence and quickly picked up another piece, For example, this piece is a little heavier, but it can hold up. What's your suggestion, Master Cheng? This piece of fabric, if you add brocade yarn on the outside, it will be solemn and not dull, Master Cheng replied. The woman hesitated. The girl was unhappy. It's okay, it's not a big deal. My daughter is very discerning. Our family makes clothes at Ruxianglu, and the master there is particularly convinced by her. It is often said that she always has a certain eye-catching touch. Master Ching saw that they were still messing with each other, and then he saw Wen Yu. He smiled and said, Manager Lu, bring me some of the figures I drew, and let Miss Jean see if there is any you like. Madam, don't worry, let the lady choose slowly. I'll excuse you first. With a light bow, come to Wen Yu. Before her own affairs were finished, Master Ching left. The Lian girl was obviously unhappy, but she didn't say anything. Lian, you are the future wife of a princess, so you can't just follow your temper. Look, these two pieces of material are of the right color and can hold up well, they must be well dressed. It's too dull. The girl spoke softly and softly. Master Ching has already arrived, Miss Wen. Master Ching, I happened to pass by on business and came to see the ingredients. I didn't make an appointment in advance. Master Ching just went to work when he had guests. It's fine with me. Haha, Miss Jean has to choose for a while. Do you need anything? Ah, is this Master Ching? Yanzu opened his eyes and looked. Master Ching turned his head and his heart skipped a beat. Two girls with such looks standing together are really pleasing to the eye. Each person has a unique style, which is really rare. I also admire Master Ching's style very much. This is my female companion, Yanzu. Miss Yanzu. Master Ching, I saw your embroidery piece. Zuzu has never seen such an embroidery method before. I can't describe this craftsmanship with just my ingenuity. You have to be smart to embroider it. Ah, Zuzu, you are so good at talking, when you teased her. All three of them laughed. This is just a modification, it turns out, my family's embroidery skills. When you pointed at the yarn she just got, this kind of yarn is so beautiful. I've never seen it before. Is it a new variety? This is brocade yarn. This weaving method has actually been around for a long time. It's just that some new things will be added every few years, but the weaving method remains the same. It's so beautiful, Yanzu touched it with bright eyes. Yes, it is very beautiful. The weaving method is difficult, and the output is very limited. It is a bit exaggerated to say that every inch of yarn costs money, but it is really expensive. Therefore, even if it has been around for a few years, there are only a few that are actually used to make clothes. Master Ching shook his head and smiled. Kalyuan Pavilion has only made 3 or 4 items in so many years. The materials are not often available in the store. Is it expensive? Yanzu asked. The girl promised to make her birthday clothes. Master Ching nodded. Make a skirt, 1,000 taels. Yanzu quickly put down her hand. Oh my god. There's a reason why it's expensive. Look at the pattern, it looks like one kind of texture, but then when you stand it up, she held up the fabric and shook it slightly, it's another kind of texture, right? Yanzu exclaimed in surprise, it's true. It's so magical. Well, let's make clothes that are elegant but not floating, light but not floating, transparent but not see-through. It's really beautiful. When you smiled, haha, no matter how beautiful you are, you can't afford to wear it. Master Ching said with a smile, I really like this piece of material. So I will prepare one if I have the chance, just in case someone is willing to make it. Her eldest brother appeared in her mind, with loose black hair and a white brocade veil, laughing and cursing, so wanton and flamboyant, like a god. That girl Lian over there also likes to wear white, haha, the appearance is far different, not to mention the charm. I can't help but feel sad. Yanzu took out her newly made purse. There was nothing in it. She wore it as a jewelry. Master Ching, this is an imitation of your embroidery piece, so I'll give it to you. I know it's far from perfect, but when you see it, you will think that there is someone who likes your craftsmanship very much. Master Ching was stunned for a moment, then took it with both hands. Although his embroidery was not as good as his own, and he didn't have the real skills, he could tell that he was very attentive. Miss Zuzu is not only beautiful, but also has a good temperament. Wen Yu smiled and said, well, Master Ching is right, she is like this. Yanzu smiled and said, all three of us are beautiful. Very, very good. Ha 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 ha, all three of them laughed. When one side smiles, the girl over there becomes even more unhappy. I don't know what was said in private, but the woman shouted loudly, Master Ching, we have decided, come here. She couldn't bear to see her daughter unhappy, especially after her daughter's status doubled. Where is the future princess of the country? It is not an exaggeration to say that all the stars support the moon. Then, the woman may have said something, and the woman said again, bring over the piece of brocade yarn, we want it. There was pride in her voice. Wen Yu smiled, winked at Master Ching, and whispered, Master Ching, go get busy. Big business is coming. Master Ching understood it and actually smiled evilly, sorry. It seemed that Miss Jean had really made up her mind, because after a while, she followed the two women out. Wen Yu was curious and looked at her. I saw that the girl looked like a peach and plum, and her waist was like a willow branch. His eyes were sparkling, as if he were holding his eyes in his mouth. Hunting nose and small mouth. If it weren't for the pretentiousness, she would be a great beauty. It looks familiar, but I can't remember where I've seen it. Yanzu also took a look. She didn't care about this beauty and turned to look at the fabric again. The woman in white realized that someone was looking at her. She must have experienced many such scenes. She did not look back, straightened her neck, and floated past Wen Yu, leaving a gust of fragrant wind. White peacock in the rain. Wen Yu didn't know how he came up with such an idea. Meeting my future fiancé's sweetheart. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 66. Chapter 66, My Best Friend Tuaguo. Xiaoji's father and brother are indeed suitable for each other, and the people given by Song Shang have not been withdrawn. It didn't take long for Wen Yu to sort out, receive, classify, and make the decision to integrate the industries in his hands. The tea house mentioned to Song Shang also sold for a pretty good price. Wen Yu and Yanzu secretly counted the money returned to the cage for a long time, but even if they added the 10,000 yuan given by Wen Qian, there would be nothing left if they bought the red coral hairpin. Wen Yu held her fragrant cheeks and sighed secretly, I am so poor, I still have to think of something. She never thought, these more than 20,000 taels of silver are enough for a middle-class family to live a wealthy life. Mrs. Wen also recently cleaned up her family's property, but because it involved so many areas, she couldn't finish it in a short while and was busy all day long. Wu also had to follow. The girls had no one to look after them. They herded the sheep, and as long as they had all the people with them, they could go out. Wen Yu took Yanzu to see a Iluan pavilion and spent some time in the shop. Master Ching talked when he was not busy. He felt that his horizons had broadened a lot. Manager Lu, who did it, always watched secretly. Just 2 days after the United States, Mrs. Wen informed everyone that her family would go to the Wen family courtyard in Tianlong town in advance to let the girls pack their things. They would stay there for nearly 10 days. This was much earlier than expected. Wen Yu wondered, why did you go so early? Soon Xiaoji found out that the Wen family was in a separate courtyard in Tianlong town, and the old lady wanted to sell it. In the past few days, many Chinese people have been coming in and out excitedly. This time, it is probably the last time I will stay there. Furthermore, this was also made possible by Wu. Because this time, Wenfeng was accompanying him. Lately, Wenfeng has been going to the legendary Beautiful Widow too frequently. Obviously he hasn't gotten it yet, because he was scratching his head a little, restless, and had an I'm in love look on his face. It seems to be a trend of getting more and more interested. Mrs. Wu had inquired about it for a long time. It was said that the widow was very well behaved on weekdays, had a lot of wealth, was capable, and was good looking. Also ignored Wenfeng's flirtation. But if you really ignore him, why do you always have the chance to let Wenfeng get closer? Isn't this just a game of hard to get? Mrs. Wu knows her husband too well. No matter how good he is, once he gets started, it's almost done. He is the most afraid of trouble. If someone gets involved, he will immediately stay away. But if you hang on like this, maybe you are really interested. What if he foolishly falls into a trap and lets someone into the house? This widow has managed property and given birth to children, so she must be experienced. Getting it back, it's not that easy to fix. So he urged the old lady to go out early. Let's separate them and wait for some time to cool down. Wen Yu was worried that Lu Lanfang's matter hadn't been settled yet, and a letter came from over there. Zhang Zhongqing finally succeeded, and Sun Ying took Li Zhang and Li He directly back to the Wen family. When Wen Yu heard about it, he was so excited that he went to the second gate in person. Li Zhang said, "Miss, there are 5 boxes in total." He pointed to the car. "Okay, thank you for your hard work, let's move in." Previously, in order to sort out the things left behind by her mother, she had already made a small room in her yard, which was just big enough for storage. After putting the things away, I asked about the process. Li Zhang was very chatty and talked for a long time with great joy. In short, if you have money, it's easy to do things. Li Zhang finally said, "Master Zhang said that the family where the things were put was very nice, but their life was poor. I bought some grain and bacon and left them. Then Master Zhang said that from now on, I would give that family 1 tael of silver every month. Go once every 3 months. When you nodded, he is determined. Remember this matter, and you will take care of it from now on." Yes. As soon as the things were in hand, Wen Yu left a message to Lu Lanfang, asking her to paint patterns. As a result, the Lu family said that she had something to do and couldn't come. Wen Yu wrote another post, saying that if she couldn't come, she would bring her friends to the house. Mrs. Lu was angry when she saw the letter, but she really didn't dare to provoke it. So, Lu Lanfang came. She looked extremely unhappy, and was accompanied by a woman with a pretentious expression. "A Fang, where is the little brother?" When you saw Lu Lanfang and asked Lu Lanzhou first. "He didn't come. I can't stay still after seeing the tricks, I have to go back." He made a face. "Qing He, go make a pot of tea, serve some snacks, and entertain this mother at the peony pavilion." When you ordered, and the old woman was sent out of the courtyard at once. The mother-in-law was unwilling. "Miss Wen, you don't have to be polite. The mother-in-law has finished her work with my girl and has to go back as soon as possible. We are going to my boudoir." "What, you want to go in too?" Wen's words were more pretentious than hers. She covered her nose with a handkerchief and didn't even look at it from the corner of her eyes. The mother-in-law looked at the beautiful girl in front of her. She was extremely clean and had a faint fragrance all over her body. Look again at the carpets in other people's houses and the mud shoes on your feet. And the hair that hasn't been washed for many days. Oops. He smiled. Just as Qing He was about to open his mouth, Xiao Ji said first, "Mom, let's not talk about my girl's snacks. This tea is new this year, and your master may not be able to drink it. Don't give you the dignity, you pour it no more." Hey, the fat girl usually always has a flattering smile on her face, but this smile is really awesome. After unpacking the box and entering the courtyard, Hong Xin pressed forward just to see what was going on. At this moment, she is also here. I can't help but secretly hate Xiaoji, this fat guy. Why do he speak so quickly? How disgusting. The old woman quickly said, "Oh, the old woman doesn't know what's wrong. Girl, don't blame me." The old woman quickly went and tried something new. She thought, what else could happen to the two girls' families? Just followed King He and left. When you took Lu Lanfang into the house and asked about the situation at home for a long time. Lu Lanfang tried hard to pretend to be normal, but she couldn't pretend well. Although it felt difficult to speak out, when you had no choice but to tell Lu Lanfang the news he had learned. Unexpectedly, Lu Lanfang was not surprised or scared. She just smiled bitterly, shook her head and said nothing. Fortunately, the things have arrived, they are all in the hut next to us, let's go take inventory. Lu Lanfang whispered, "Ayu, actually, there is really no need to count. But I'm afraid you won't be stable, just take a look. After you finish reading, leave." Two people entered the small house next to them and saw 5 identical black boxes. Lu Lanfang rushed over, as if she was about to throw herself into her mother's arms, gently stroking the box with both hands, her expression infinitely sad. "A Fang, the locks on top are rusty and there is no key, so I asked them to pry them off first when you opened one himself. There was a layer of dust-proof cloth on top, and then a hard velvet cloth on the bottom. They are small partitions one by one. In each small grid, there is a piece of jewelry. It's very beautiful, and it's still bright after all these years." Lu Lanfang watched with tears streaming down her face. There are 6 compartments on one level in the box, and there are 2 levels in total, so these are 12 pieces of jewelry. Opening another box, there were 4 grids inside, which turned out to be 4 bronze vessels with simple shapes and exquisite patterns. On the lower floor, there are several ancient bronze mirrors with green rust on their surfaces. It's not for taking pictures, it's for collection. Although the pieces are not large in size, they are quite exquisite. When you had been with Song Shang and had seen a lot, know that this is very valuable and easy to sell. "A Fang, these are all good things." Lu Lanfang burst into tears and hugged her softly and silently. "Ayu, I miss my mother and my father." "I know." The other box contains some gadgets, fans, laces, etc., some stuff from my daughter's house. And an ivory chess set. Her mother is so rich. None of the things my mother left behind were so exquisite. There is another box, which is half a box of small gold ingots. No wonder it's so heavy. The last box contained a bright red bridal embroidered gown and a peony flower hijab. Lu Lanfang couldn't stand any more and fell to her knees. "Mother, mother." She lay on the ground and cried bitterly. Wen Yu's tears couldn't stop flowing. A Fang, your mother, she takes you and your brother very seriously. She is sick herself, and she even thought of a way out for you too. So, you have to be strong. No matter how difficult it is, just grit your teeth and maybe things will get better. I can do it all by myself. It's just my brother, Ayu." Lu Lanfang pulled Wen Yu's skirt. "Ayu, you are my best friend, please, if something happens to me." She knelt and turned to Wen Yu. "A Fang. Don't talk nonsense." Wen Yu wiped her tears and became anxious. "Ayu, listen to me first. I'm just saying, if something really happens to me, I'll leave it to you, did. Take all these things, just don't starve him, don't let anyone bully him, that's it." Wen Yu was so sad that she couldn't speak. She just shook her head, faced Lu Lanfang, and knelt down. "There is no need to marry him a wife, he can't get someone else's. If he goes to find our parents early, then all these properties will belong to you." Wen Yu hugged her. "A Fang, although I don't allow you to talk nonsense. However, when you, swear to God, I kept this property for you and my little brother, and it belongs to you and my little brother. When you will never do this 10mo if something happens to you, I will never leave Lu Lanzhou alone. I will take good care of him for the rest of his life. If you are no longer here, I will bury you and your parents together every year. On Qingming festival and October 1st, I will give you lots of gold and silver cold clothes. If you break the oath. Lu Lanfang immediately covered her mouth. Okay. Ayu, your words are enough, I believe you. What I owe you, I will pay it back in the next life. Lu Lanfang looked at things again. After reading one thing, he closed it again. When you wrote a certificate beside it, indicating that these things were kept by her on behalf of Lu Lanfang. Make it in 2 copies, signed by 2 people, fingerprinted, and each person gets 1 copy. Lu Lanfang took another piece of cake and left in a hurry. As soon as she went out, she stuffed the portion in her hand into her mouth and ate it. A gentle oath is enough, this proof cannot be kept. When you cried for a long time in his room. Yanzu sat next to her and cried with her. I've been really happy these 2 days. Many friends have left messages, sent tickets, and given rewards. There are old friends and there are new friends. This makes me feel that I am very capable and important. Grateful. Grateful. But today's chapter was very painful to write, and even made me shed tears. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 67. Chapter 67. People need to save themselves. Tianlong Temple has a long history. It was once the most popular temple within hundreds of miles. Because of its beautiful scenery, exquisite architecture, and strong incense, a town of large scale and high grade was built around it. The temple is rich. Not to mention the land, nearly half of the industry in Tianlong town belongs to Tianlong Temple. Many wealthy and powerful families have set up villas here. However, in the past 2 years, a new temple was built 200 to 300 miles away from here, Tianfa Temple. It is said that the abbot of Tianfa Temple has profound Taoism and the incense is more effective than that of Tianlong Temple. He robbed a lot of incense from Tianlong Temple and left. At first, Tianlong Temple did not take this new temple seriously. Unexpectedly, over the past few years, others have become more and more prosperous, but my own family has become a bit declining. Is this a good thing? Everyone brainstormed and finally came up with a solution. In a few days, it will be the 1000-year anniversary of the Tianlong Temple. The monks of Tianlong Temple want to use this celebration to trace the past and the present, rectify the origins, and have a good way of doing things. Hence, the Buddha statue in the main hall reshaped its golden body, and only waited until the right day to lift the yellow cloth and accept the worship of pilgrims. They even invited the first abbot's relics and some 1000-year-old treasures to be brought out, and pilgrims with certain qualifications, incense amounts, could visit. Invited some great monks from several surrounding monasteries to give lectures together. Even the abbot of the royal temple in the capital will come in person. Moreover, this time not only the main hall, but also the Jing Pavilion and the dining hall were renovated and painted. A new Zen room has also been built to facilitate the residence of pilgrims who worship Buddha from afar. Buddhism is not exempt from secularism. In the secular world, people will be divided into high and low, rich and poor, and the decoration will be simplified according to the distance from the temple. They also vigorously publicized it, and wealthy families within hundreds of miles around donated large sums of incense and dedicated their efforts to the Buddha's golden body. Even people in the capital sent incense. The Song family is very wealthy and bought a house here a few years ago. Later, when Song Shang came to power, he even built a mansion near the temple. The original house was no longer wanted, so the Wen family took it over and would come to live there every year. Although it is far away from the main courtyard of the temple, it is quiet and has a good environment. Wenfeng felt uncomfortable leaving his beloved widow. When we got here, we went out to play with friends. Don't look at this Buddhist Pure Land, but as long as you are willing, it is a fun place, you know. Old Mrs. Wen is planning to sell her house. Wu was looking after the house and did not follow. When you brought Xiaoji and Qinghe this time, but not Yanzu. Wenfeng is a person who should be careful in his words. Otherwise Yanzu would be favored by Wenyu. She could get angry because she didn't have time to make clothes, but Wenyu told her to stay at home. Even though she loved watching the excitement and wanted to go to Tianlong Temple very much, she would never show it to embarrass Wenyu. He patted his chest and promised that he would take good care of her home and Lanzhou's property. Although there have been a lot of people coming to Tianlong town recently, there is no problem with safety. When the Wen family girls get here, they can go out on the streets as long as they have all the people. This opportunity does not come often, so the girls put down their things and got ready to go out. Even Wen Jiao didn't bother to look bad at Wenyu. She didn't dare to take the old lady's car for fear of offending the old lady. And Wenyu's carriage is new, compact, and very convenient. So he shamelessly asked her to borrow it, saying that it would be enough to send them to the busiest street, and they would figure out their own solution when they came back. Wenyu would not care about this with her at all, and immediately asked Li Zhang to see her off. Wen Xiao, Wen Wan, Wen Su, sister-in-law Li, and sister Hui, with their maids, crowded into 2 full cars and set off. After seeing her off, Li Zhang came back to pick her up, and then she went out. The Wen family's house is a bit remote, very quiet, and has a good environment. There is no one in the alley, but once you step onto the main street, it suddenly becomes lively. Walking along, watching the excitement along the way. It is still far away from Tianlong Temple, and there are too many people on the street, making it difficult to drive forward. There is a large square next to it, with a temporary market set up. There is constant laughter inside, which looks very interesting. Wenyu asked Li Zhang to find an empty place to watch the car. He took the 2 girls, followed by Sun Ying, and walked around the market. The shops on both sides have food, clothing, and everything is fresh. Sun Ying followed behind, smiling bitterly. He never thought that one day he would go shopping with the girl. But not long after, he actually got interested in shopping, and even asked the girl to give her an idea, and bought a hairpin for the mother-in-law. Wenyu watched Sun Ying's old face turn red and put it in her arms, and laughed. "Miss Wen," someone called her. Wenyu turned around and said, "Ah, is it Master Cheng?" Over there, Master Cheng was wearing a veil, only 2 eyes were exposed, and there was a little girl standing there behind him. "Hello, Miss Wen." "Master Cheng, why are you here?" "Kailyuan Pavilion is over there, and there is a temporary stall." "Huh? Cai Luan Pavilion has such a big noodle shop, but there are also temporary stalls," Wenyu teased her. Master Cheng took off his veil and smiled faintly, with a hint of sadness in his expression. Wenyu changed her mind and saw a tea house next to her. "Master Cheng, let's go and sit for a while. Let them go around by themselves." Master Cheng nodded and said to the little girl, "Go and have some fun. Don't go too far. Don't cause trouble." He took out some coins and gave them to her. The 2 of them sat down at the tea house and ordered tea and snacks. "I would like to ask, Master Cheng, are you in trouble?" At this moment, Wenyu's eyes, like those of a deer, were filled with curiosity and sympathy. Master Cheng is not a person who reveals his emotions easily, but at this moment, his heart feels soft and sour. "I just went to burn a stick of incense. My boss has been in poor health recently." "Oh, it's good to burn incense. The incense from Tianlong Temple is quite effective." I came here to set up a stall for a reason. In fact, I used this celebration to offer incense." Wenyu smiled and poured her a cup of tea himself. "Master Cheng, although we have only met a few times, I am very convinced through your craftsmanship and your character. I am also convinced of the way Kalyuan Pavilion is run. Very appreciated. Thank you for your affirmation, girl Yu Qing. I don't deserve it. Yu Qing. Her name? To tell you the truth, I recently took over my mother's property. It's not much. I'm currently looking for opportunities to do something. I wonder if Master Qing, are you interested in cooperating with Wen Yu? It is cooperation, not employment. Master Qing can still hear it. She couldn't help but laugh. It's an honor for me to be appreciated by Miss Wen. It's just. She stopped again. Master Qing, I have only been to Cai-Luan Pavilion 2 or 3 times, but I believe that if it can be run according to your ideas, Cai-Luan Pavilion will really become Cai-Luan Pavilion. Master Qing smiled, thank you for your affirmation, miss, but I'm afraid I can't leave Kalyuan Pavilion. In the future, I may not be able to leave. It depends on man-made things. You see, my mother died young, and my father soon married another woman, had a new wife and children, and was promoted to the capital. My grandmother valued my father most, and my grandfather was not at home for many years. To say, my life, haha, but look, I can travel around in my own carriage and have money to plan my future. Isn't it difficult for me to even have my own plans for marriage? Miss Wen is a great person, Boss Lu. You have been a life-saving and acquaintance for me. If he didn't say anything, I wouldn't leave, and I couldn't leave. Oh, Cai-Luan Pavilion was originally just a small grocery store. It was Master Qing who made it what it is today with your hard work. The Lu family can live several lifetimes just by relying on the wealth accumulated by such a embroidered building. Are you living a good life? Although the kindness is great, you have repaid it with your hard work and wisdom? Miss Wen, I understand everything you said. It's just, thank you for your consideration, I'm really sorry. Worshipping Buddha can bring you comfort, but if you are really in trouble, you need to deal with it yourself. I didn't expect that a girl at such a young age could be so transparent. Master Qing, if you have any difficulties, you can come and ask me. If I can help, I will not refuse. Thank you, girl. If Miss Yanzu likes it, we can make an appointment again, and I will share my embroidery skills with her. Huh, she must be so happy to know I'm happy too. The two of them left the tea house. Xiaoji, Qinghe and Sun Ying were already waiting there. Everyone was very happy holding big and small bags. But the little girl beside Master Qing is still missing. Seeing this, Master Qing smiled bitterly, hung up his veil, nodded to Wen Yu, and left. Wen Yu stood there, looking at the lonely and sad back of Master Qing, feeling very sad. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 68. 068 Traffic Accident. Rejected by Master Qing. Although it was expected, I was still a little disappointed. Let's go back first, Wen Yu said a little faintly and was not interested in shopping anymore. The group of people walked towards the place where the car was parked. Xiaoji walked in front, Qinghe by his side, and Sun Ying walking behind. These days, I talk warmly and appreciate Qinghe. I don't do too much or too little, and I am neither far nor close to myself, which makes me feel comfortable. After all, it's normal for someone to just come to you, and not think of yourself as the master all of a sudden. It is impossible for me to trust her wholeheartedly. The current state is very good. Xiaoji is different, the whole family follows him. I saw the fat girl waving a few bags in her hand and saying, "Girl, Xiaoji brought some fruit peel to Zuzu. It's delicious." Haha, it's delicious, two foodies. Li Zhang guarded the car honestly. When he saw Wen Yu coming, he quickly put down his stool and opened the curtain. A group of people got into the car and walked back. We only walked for a while when the road ahead was blocked. It's densely packed with people and it's impenetrable. Sun Ying hurriedly went to inquire about it, and when he came back he said that a shop had opened with free candies, and everyone was queuing up there to receive candies. It goes very slowly, one person at a time, one small piece at a time. Many people queued up again after receiving their orders, so, there were more and more people, and it was impossible to get through for a while. Sun Ying said, "Girl, I know a small road. I can take a detour to go back. It's better than waiting here." "Okay, let's take a detour." The car entered the alley next to it. It was quite a circuit, turning left and right for a long time. The alley is very quiet, with occasional people. But the people in Jiang were very cautious and did not walk fast. Just as we were passing a fork in the road, suddenly, a donkey cart came speeding from the alley next to us. Li Jiang's car had already passed most of the way, but the other party's donkey cart still slammed into the back end of the carriage. With a sound of "ah," Wen Yu, who was sitting in the car, was thrown out and hit Xiao Ji next to him. Qing He reacted very quickly. Although she herself stumbled, she still reached out to pull Wen Yu. That is to say, Xiao Ji is thick and fleshy, so Wen Yu slapped her on her, which didn't matter much, but she still hit her head and grinned in pain. 3 people rolled into a ball, very embarrassed. Li Jiang was young and reacted quickly. He jumped down, held the horse, and asked nervously, "Girl, how are you?" Sun Ying from behind was even more anxious and jumped off the donkey. The other party's car, because it was a direct collision, hit harder than Wen Yu's car. The driver fell far away and couldn't get up for a while. The people in the car were also thrown out and fell into the driver's seat. Xiao Ji and Qing He were both asking Wen Yu, "Girl, are you okay?" "Hey, it should be fine." Sun Ying heard the noise inside and felt relieved. He rushed up and shouted, "How do you drive? You can run so fast on such a narrow road. You are going to a funeral." King He asked, "Did the girl hit her head?" "There was no bleeding, but is there any pain?" Wen Yu felt pain all over his body and was very angry. He stood up, opened the curtain and glared angrily. The other driver was a thin man who was struggling to get up. The donkey was hurt by the collision and leaned to one side, braying. What was thrown out of the car was a woman wearing a pink satin dress, gold hairpins and silk flowers, and pink and red lipstick. Maybe he fell hard enough and was screaming. Beside her, a little girl of 5 or 6 years old was lying, her eyes closed tightly, motionless. Sun Ying cursed, and a man appeared behind the other car. He has big shoulders and a round waist, and a fleshy face. Pointing at Sun Ying, "Who the are you scolding?" "I'll scold whoever hits my car, I'll hit my master and my whole family will not be able to pay for it." That tough guy didn't expect that he didn't scare the other person just because of his magnitude. Angry, "You curse again. I'll chop you up." "Li Jiang. See if the girl is okay. Come over here and let's fight," Sun Ying provoked. Looking for death, the ruthless man wanted to rush forward. The thin man finally got up from the ground, endured the pain, and came over to grab the muscular man. Turning to the Wen family, he said, I'm sorry. Our girl is sick and we are in a hurry to see a doctor. We left in a hurry. I'm really sorry. You guys should hurry up and see if the people in the car are injured. This is quite relevant." Li Jiang knew that Wen Yu was fine, so he started to complain, "Even if there is an emergency, we can't run like this. What a shame, if our cars hadn't passed by, we would have hit each other. That would be terrible. What happened? Furthermore, after the fall, didn't your girl become more seriously ill? Don't blame us, we don't recognize it. And that one, why do you curse people and chop them up when you come up? This is Tianlong Town, Lord Buddha's heel, and you still dare to say anything. Buddha is about to celebrate his birthday, aren't you afraid that Buddha will be angry and punish you? I have never seen someone do something wrong and act so arrogantly. When you looked at him, everyone also looked at him. No one expected that a handsome young man would be chattering like an old lady. The angry man pointed at him and was speechless. Weren't you the ones who scolded him first? Even if the alley is quiet, at this moment, there are still two people gathered around to watch the excitement. Behind the muscular man, a person appeared silently, watching silently without speaking. When you glanced at Li Jiang and then looked at him, the woman in pink clothes fell so badly that she let out an ouch at this moment and finally reacted, Nayuniu. Nayuniu. Ouch, this is terrible, my daughter has fainted. Hurry, go to the hospital quickly, the voice said sharp, but with a special flavor. She wanted to carry the little girl lying there into the carriage, but her waist was shaking just now, and she couldn't hold on, so she couldn't carry her. The little girl's little tutu was swaying, and it suddenly shimmered. When you saw it at a glance, yo, it's so beautiful. But then, isn't that what Master Ching cherishes so much? Oh, yes. Brocade yarn. Your daughter. When you looked at the woman with contempt, low-grade silk clothes, cheap powder, and gold hairpins on her hair are not that good either. There is still a shallow sense of romance in his bones. Can you have a daughter wearing such clothes? A small skirt is more expensive than all the belongings of a mother like you. It is more believable to say that she is this girl's wet nurse. It doesn't look like it. Could it be that they are flower photographers? The meaty man, and the thin man, more like people from that kind of place. Li Jiang didn't care, he was still mumbling, this is a new car of ours, it has only been used for a few days. The horse is also expensive, and it is different from your donkey. Fortunately, we didn't use the white horse given by Master Songwu, otherwise, you would be doomed. It was so reckless to bump into him as soon as he came up. I still have to take a look, if it breaks, you will have to pay for it. Still showing off your temper, why? Do you think we are ordinary people? Our eldest man is a high-ranking official in the capital. All the men in the family are officials. If you want to bully us, you are making a mistake, ah! He shouted. Everyone was shocked. He pointed to the walnut-sized bump on the car and said, look, look. It's broken here. It doesn't happen, you have to be responsible. The people watching the fun on the side were upset. Oh. My daughter is sick and has to go to the hospital. Why don't you be accommodating? Don't let the child's illness delay you. Yes, my little girl is already unconscious. What's the point of breaking something like this? We all have officials in our family, so we shouldn't be so stingy. Another spectator came, and as soon as he understood it, he was filled with righteous indignation. Although Li Jiang was still shaking his head, his face was a little red. The thin man driving the car on the other side was a little anxious and looked behind the big man. Although Li Jiang was embarrassed by the interjection of the people next to him, he still refused to give in. It's not our fault, it was them running around in this alley that caused it, right? This is a collision with our car. What if it hits someone? We don't live here, we're just passing through, and the ones they're more likely to hit, are you. He pointed at the people watching the excitement and said with an angry expression, it's your child, clear? I'm fighting for you. When people nearby heard this, they thought too. Then he turned to the hegemonic man and said, you're right. It's really not a problem for you to drive like this. Our children often run and play here. If we get hit. Li Jiang saw it and was satisfied, that's right. Don't be polite when you bump into someone, but you still act aggressively. My daughter is sick, and she still has the time to act aggressively. At this time, the man behind the burly man finally came out. Okay, how much money do you want? The voice was calm. The handsome man, the thin woman in pink clothes, suddenly became nervous and respectful. This is a man in his 30s, with an ordinary appearance, wearing an ordinary blue suit, and his voice is not loud. But when Sun Ying saw it, his pupils tightened. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 69. 069 Her choice. Lian Jieze. Still murderous. Sun Ying has been traveling around the world for many years and is no rookie. He's not afraid of a tough guy, but this guy, the girl is right next to him, so there's no room for any mistakes. So he whispered to Wen Yu, "This person has a history, girl, don't get into trouble." "Where do you know Wen Yu?" Seeing Sun Ying's serious expression, she went to see the man. The man didn't show any anger at all, and even smiled a little, very sincerely. But Li Jiang didn't care and was still arguing, "We are not trying to extort money. Don't look down on others. Our family has rich property and we have a separate house here. The house is huge. Just you two guys." He looked at the other party's simple carriage and curled his lips with a look of contempt on his face. "You can't catch our eyes. If the owner of the car is fine, then our car will be repaired. Apologize, our master is no longer angry, and this matter will be over. Everyone is a little helpless, why is he so slimy?" When you looked at the man carefully and seemed to notice something different. She was not injured, and it would not be a big deal if the carriage was destroyed. "Forget it, let's go. It's just, the little skirt blowing in the wind and shining beautifully. How to choose?" Suddenly, she let out an ouch and her body suddenly softened. Ziaji was shocked. "Girl. What's wrong with you?" The fat girl had a lot of confidence, and this roar shocked everyone to look over. I knocked my head just now, and it hurts so much now." When Yuxian put her hand on her forehead, looking like she was seriously injured. "Ah, this is incredible, what can we do?" Li Jiang shouted. Sun Ying was also startled and wondered, wasn't the girl okay just now? Li Jiang stepped forward and pulled the other person's donkey. "You can't leave. You've hit my lady." The blue man frowned slightly. Looking around, I saw a few more people, some of whom were running back with smiles. It seemed they were going back to call people to watch the fun. What should I do in public? The woman in pink has just carried the little girl in. Hearing the noise outside, he was furious. Did he meet Peng Cier? "You don't know that I am the ancestor of Peng Cier." She opened the curtain and said angrily, "Hey. Everything was fine just now, but now I'm hitting my head again. Tell me, how much money do you want to go to the doctor?" When you sat in the car, her beautiful eyebrows slightly furrowed, looking a little painful. The spectators, who had been confused by Li Jiang's talk just now, noticed this girl and couldn't help but take a breath. "Oh my God, there is such a beautiful girl in the world. There are many beautiful women who come to Tianlong Temple to offer incense. It can look like this. Could it be that it took thousands of years to build the temple, but it actually attracted immortals?" The woman in pink also saw it clearly, and she got goosebumps all over her body with excitement. "Oh my God. Too beautiful. What happened these 2 days? Does God want me to make a fortune?" She winked at the thin man quickly. "Oh, it turns out it's a little girl. The injury is serious. Not far ahead, there is a medical clinic we are familiar with. How about I take you to have a look?" The thin man was also excited when he saw Wen Yu. "If you get this on your hands, you will be able to wash your hands in a golden basin in this life." So, he ignored the man in blue and immediately smiled and said, "That's right. Girl, come with us to have a look. If anything goes wrong, we'll pay for it." Wen Yu snorted coquettishly, "Do you know any good doctor? Bring me the money and I'll go and see for myself." Girl, we are in a hurry, how can we bring much money? Otherwise, that medical center is opened by my uncle. You come with me first. If you don't want to see me there, I will start with my uncle, I'll give you the money there. Let's not waste time. My daughter has to take a look. When you said, but, when the time comes, if I say more and you say less, what should I do if we get entangled? How could it be? It's our fault. The amount is, of course, decided by the lady. You are our lady, and you don't know how to blackmail people. Oh, once we get there, it's not up to you. Except for you, everyone else must die. Then, when you seem to hesitate, neighbors, are you going to follow me so that you can provide evidence? Everyone was watching the excitement and was not afraid of the trouble, and nodded. Is it the security hall in front? Okay, okay, let's go together. The man in blue is a little anxious. What's wrong? How can we not be confused about such a small matter? The woman's move failed, so she tried another one. What's the matter? Are you looking for trouble? She twisted her eyebrows and became more serious. The tough man was even more confident and took 2 steps forward. When you was not afraid, but she poked her neck. What do you want to do? Who are you trying to scare? Huh. Mr. Zhang is my second uncle's friend. Mrs. Zhang likes me the most. In this town, anyone who dares to bully me has not yet been born. Woolen cloth. Look at how powerful everyone is, and think about Li Zhang just now, this master and servant, tisk tisk. It's so fun to watch the excitement today. The melon eaters were so happy. Xiaoji, when you called her girl, quickly give these little brothers some scraps of silver and ask them to run errands to the yamen to call for help. Xiaoji took out the money without saying anything. Such a beautiful fairy sister, give them money to do things. My God, this is the blessing brought by the construction of the temple for thousands of years. The boys were extremely excited. One of them even shouted loudly, Miss, I just saw Mr. Tiger patrolling the front street. He is the most fair in doing things, and we have a good relationship. Go and call him now. The faces of the woman in pink, the skinny man, and the muscular man all changed. The man in blue finally took a step forward, waving his fingers lightly. Stop, he was a little scary. This girl, you have to understand that enough is enough. His murderous intention has arisen. Seeing this, Sun Ying turned around and took off the knife from the donkey. He took a few steps in front of the Wen family and said calmly, Sir, given your status, it would be too embarrassing to scare a little girl, right? The man in blue was shocked when Sun Ying pointed out his identity. Looking at the knife in Sun Ying's hand and the way he held it, he knew in his heart, this is not like an ordinary nursing home. It's not that I can't deal with him. It's just that more and more people are coming around, which is causing trouble. Li Zhang shouted even louder, what are you doing? What are you going to do? You have to kill people for such a small thing? There are more than a dozen people here, do you want to kill them all? Everyone, hurry up and steal the guys, otherwise, they will silence you. What kind of messed up logic is this? The man in blue sighed and said to the woman, okay, you stay here and wait for someone from the yamen to come. I'll take the girl to see a doctor first. The thin man hesitated for a moment and nodded helplessly. The woman was a little panicked, but there was nothing she could do. But when you said, no, you are not even allowed to leave. The people from the yamen will be here soon. Please make it clear before leaving. The woman smiled ferociously and said, I said to this girl, don't bully her too much. I've already told you to keep her, but you're not done yet. Can you afford to compensate for delaying my girl's illness? Having a good intention to watch the excitement, I advised, girl, let this man take the little girl to see a doctor first. We will keep it as a witness. There will be nothing wrong. When you looked embarrassed, no. All evidence and evidence must be kept here. Even if the illness is delayed, I can afford the compensation. She is being hypocritical. The woman screamed, "Do you want my daughter's life? Brother Chi, whoever dares to stop me will kill him." The man with a sinister face whipped out the dagger from his waist. Li Jiang jumped all the way away and shouted desperately, "Here comes someone! Someone is coming! Someone is coming!" When he called, Xiaoji also called. That voice could be heard from far away. End of this chapter. The Duke's wife is beautiful but has a dark heart. Author, see the peach fish again. Chapter 70. 070. The work is not in vain. Li Jiang and Xiaoji were making a fuss, and Wen Yu was not idle either. Quickly took out a few bank notes, shook them in his little hand, pointed at the other person with a commanding attitude and said, "These are thieves. Whoever turns them over to the government, I will reward you with 100 taels of silver." Originally, the ruthless man drew out his dagger and backed away in fright at the excitement. No matter how beautiful a beauty is, she cannot risk her life. But when I heard it, what, 100 taels of silver? Oh my God! Is what the girl said true? Two idle men asked quickly. Xiaoji said, "My lady can lie to people." The tough man sneered, "Let me see who of you dares." Although the two idle men did not dare to rush forward, they refused to leave. The leader shouted, "Don't leave, let's just surround them. When the officials arrive, the money will be in hand." "Right, young lady." When you nodded quickly, "Yes, yes. When the officials come, the money will be yours." Everyone was excited when they heard it, and some people actually picked up sticks and stones from the roadside. The man in blue finally became anxious. With a knife drawn from his waist, he wanted to step forward and take away the unconscious little girl. Sun Ying already understood the meaning of Wen Yu, and without saying a word, he raised his sword to block it. Wen Yu shouted, "He wants to chop me, but he will have no money." When the spectators heard the excitement, without saying a word, they picked up stones and chopped down those few people. The woman in pink was so angry that she asked bitterly, "What on earth do you want to do?" When you said softly, "Put the little girl down in the car and let you go. After all, I don't want to make a big deal out of it." The woman then realized that this girl was just faking it. "Do you know who you've messed with?" she threatened. When you smiled contemptuously, ignored her, and said to the man in blue, "Why don't you understand? With my family background, people from the government are here, and you can still leave. What's more, the real victim is come on, I'm afraid I'll cut you lightly." Others didn't know what she was talking about, but the blue man's expression changed. With these dozen or so people, even if the man with the knife is added, it is impossible to stop him from taking the little girl away. It's just that this matter has gone by the wayside, and it doesn't look like the handiwork of a trafficker. But really wait for the government to come. This girl is not only good, but also the thief, and she does not know what she will make trouble. The point is, if that person is found, it will be all over. Walk. Fortunately, these three people don't know anything. Let's talk about it later. So, without any further hesitation, he saw his horse behind him. He turned around and got on the horse with a single step. Ran. The crowd was dumbfounded. What did he do? If you're afraid you can't beat me, go call someone. How could you just run away without fighting? The woman in pink was dumbfounded when she saw it. She winked at the little thin man and ran. "Okay, you bully our little family, right? My girl's illness is what delayed you after all. Okay, just throw her here now. If she dies, I will go to the capital to complain and I will make you pay with your life." After saying that, he covered his face and rushed out of the crowd crying, "I don't want the little girl or the car anymore." The other two people also left in a panic. When everyone looked at it, they said, "Girl, What are we going to do? They threw the child to you to blackmail you. If you really have someone who is both good and bad, you will be in trouble. When you was also scared, why is this mother-in-law like this? It's broken. I have to take her to see a doctor quickly. What about that? Thank you very much. You can divide this money among yourself. Don't wait until they call. People come back. When everyone heard this, they agreed and quickly discussed how to divide it. King He carried the little girl into the Wen family's car. Li Zhang whistled and left. When the officials heard the news and came, the alley was quiet and clean, and the donkey cart didn't even know who to let go. When you looked at the little girl, she couldn't wake her up and didn't know what was wrong. Without any delay, he took me directly to the largest medical clinic in the area. Let Li Zhang enter the store, find a suitable old doctor, arrange a single room, and then Qing He carries the little girl in. The old doctor felt strange, but he didn't ask any more questions. After careful inspection, he said, "This little girl must have taken sleeping pills. The problem is not that big. She wakes up when she sleeps enough. Acupuncture will make it faster. Then let's get an acupuncture. I want her to wake up as soon as possible." The old doctor nodded, "That's fine. However, she is too young and cannot take these sleeping pills. It will damage her brain. She must be especially careful in the future." Yes. The old doctor gave her an injection and said, "Don't worry, it will take a while." After getting on the carriage, Xiaoji asked, "Girl, what should I do?" When you thought for a while, you can't take it home. Find a good tea house. Not long after, the little girl woke up. Her eyes focused and she realized that they were all strangers. She was startled and started crying. "Hey, little girl, don't cry, what's your name? This little dress is so beautiful," he coaxed her with gentle words. The little girl said nothing and cried loudly. "Little girl, you can't cry. Your face becomes chapped when you cry. It's ugly." "Well, you look just like her," Qing He pointed at Xiaoji. Xiaoji rolled his eyes, "Don't listen to her." The little girl was shocked when she saw how fat Xiaoji was. Looking at Wenyu again, "This sister is beautiful. She doesn't want to be fat." He spoke Wenyu and pursed his lips, "I want my aunt, I want my father, I want my mother." Woohoo. "Okay, then who should we go to first?" Wenyu drank tea and was not in a hurry. The little girl was more practical. "Really, you won't lie to me? Find my aunt." "You are a little girl, why should I lie to you? What is your name?" "My name is Yuan Yuan." "Ah, Yuan Yuan, it sounds so nice. What did your aunt do?" "Auntie went to burn incense." Let me wait at home for you, I shouldn't go out." "Did you run around blindly and lose yourself?" "No, it was the flower photographer who snatched me away." "She knows?" "Where are the flower photographers? How could I see that you were chasing a rabbit and then fell unconscious?" No, it's a flower photographer." The little girl had heard the story many times before, and she stopped crying, and her attitude was more serious. "I just left the door, and then." "You remembered wrong." "I didn't." The little girl was anxious. "Why does a little girl have such a good memory? I can't even remember what happened when I was a child." "When you picked up a little rabbit by its ears from a basket nearby. It is about the size of a fist, has long hair, a pink three-petal mouth, red eyes, and is kicking its hind legs. It's so cute. I just asked Xiaoji to buy it at the market." The little girl's eyes suddenly straightened, and she stared with dark eyes. "Didn't you chase it and fall down?" "I. This little rabbit isn't yours, then I have to find an owner for it." I. The little girl has been taught not to lie since she was a child. "But, this little bunny is so cute." She didn't know how to deal with such a complicated matter, so she was anxious and burst into tears. I want to touch it. Will it bite me? Touch it gently, it won't bite you. The little girl touched it carefully. My God. Meaty and hot. What does it eat? Xiaoji looked at the rabbit with disgust. Eat grass, eat radish. Then give it something to eat. We don't have it now, we don't have the money to buy it. How could she have it? If there is a collar around her neck, she will take it off. Tell me first who your aunt is, and we'll ask your aunt for money to buy it. My aunt, her name is MRSG. My cousin's name is Wu Lang. We live in Zanquan Villa. My aunt, who burns incense here, lives in, Lion Lane. There are 2 big lions in front of my house. When you winked at Xiaoji, and Xiaoji went out and asked Li Zhang and Sun Ying to go out and inquire. Without much effort, I asked about it. Lion Lane is the residence of the Qi family in Yuanhou Mansion. Jingcheng Town. MRSG is the wife of a first-class general. The day before yesterday, MRSG moved in with her 4th son and 5th son. Oh! Ho Mansion. The wife of a first-class general. Well, finally the work was not in vain. Now, the gate of the mansion is guarded tightly, and everyone is very nervous, but there is not much news coming out. The young lady at home is missing, and she definitely doesn't want the outside world to know. Little sister, I will take you home. After waiting for the news for a while, the little girl had forgotten all the pain and was playing with the rabbit in full swing. End of this chapter.